Hello and welcome to Yoga for Runners. In this short class, we focused on poses to help you recover after running. You might need a couple of yoga blocks for this session, otherwise there's no special equipment required. To start with then, coming to a seated position with your feet, your soles of your feet together, so creating a diamond with your legs, and you're inhaling up through the spine, and you have an option to sit on a block for this if that's more comfortable, otherwise sitting on the floor. Just letting those hips come out to the side, and if this is just after your run, perhaps taking a big inhale through the nose and a big sigh out through the mouth. Just trying to let it go. Inhaling, bringing that spine a little bit taller, and exhaling, letting everything go. Perhaps bringing those fingertips to your belly and starting to lengthen and deepen your breath. Feeling every time you inhale, your fingertips will rise, and every time you exhale, they float back down towards your spine. Just working with your fingertips and your breath today. Option, if this is feeling a little bit strenuous on the hips, you can always put blocks on the outer side as well. Otherwise, focusing on that breath, coming in and out through your nose. And gently releasing, rolling the shoulders. We're going to come into an all fours position, bringing our right foot in between our hands to find a low lunge. Option to bring blocks either side to help this pose. So if you've got particularly tight muscles after your run, then this can be a great way of bringing the ground up to you. Otherwise, working with your fingertips either side. And you're starting to feel an opening in the hips. Perhaps down this quad, tucking perhaps this tailbone under to find a little bit more of a quad stretch on this side if you'd like. And then from here, perhaps again using your blocks, you're going to hinge your hips back, bringing the toes up and off the ground so that your toes are coming up towards your shins and you're feeling a stretch down the back of this leg. So again, you can shuffle this heel a little bit further forward to find that stretch, and perhaps use these blocks either side to support and help the earth come up to you. Again, just breathing into any tension down the back of the leg, feeling your legs really start to lengthen after all the tightness of the running. Option to pad the back knee if it feels uncomfortable. So you can pop a cushion or roll your mat to make it more comfortable. And then when you're ready, you're going to gently roll yourself forward, bringing this front foot back into your kneeling position before doing the same thing on the opposite side. So again, finding your low lunge, perhaps with your fingertips either side. This kind of low, what we call runner's lunge. Or again, adding your blocks, whatever height, to bring the ground up to you. Perhaps again, tucking that tailbone under a little bit. See if you can get any more of a stretch down the right quad. Beautiful. And then gently, when you're ready, starting to hinge back, your bum coming back towards your back heel and straightening that front leg, bringing those left toes up towards the shin. Feeling a stretch down the back of the leg, so checking you've got a little micro bend in the knee. And perhaps, again, using blocks either side to support if that feels more comfortable for you. Then from there, rocking through before you bring the front knee back, and coming into your all fours position, you're going to bring your palms palm distance forward, tuck the toes under, bringing those hips up and back to come into your downward facing dog. Option to pad the feet here, so bend one knee and straighten the other leg, whilst ensuring that you're pushing your hips up and back. So we're looking for a straight spine rather than worrying about our heels touching the floor in this pose. When you're ready, you're going to gently walk your toes towards your hands to hang out in your forward fold. Perhaps nodding and shaking your head to release any tension in your neck and shoulders. Just letting everything go out. So gentle bend in the knees here, bringing your abdomen as close as possible towards the tops of your thighs, and then pushing those hips up and back to see if you can get anything more out of this stretch. Gently inhaling to find a halfway lift, grounding into the whole of your feet here. Your hands are on either your shins or your thighs, and you're sucking your tummy in to help you find a flat back. Exhale to forward fold. And then scooping those arms out wide, you're going to inhale yourself all the way up. Exhaling your palms to center in your mountain pose. And at the top of the mat, you're going to step your left foot back to find your high lunge. So perhaps with your hands on your hips here. And then inhaling your arms up either side. To find your high lunge. Perhaps lengthening your stance a little bit if your front knee is going over your ankle. And then gently lowering the arms, grounding the back heel, so kicking that back heel in, toes are out, and then perhaps bringing that foot a little bit wider to help you bring your hips round towards the front of the mat to find your warrior one pose. Inhaling the arms up and bringing those shoulders down, back at the same time. Finding a push and pull with your body. And then when you're here, I'd like you to exhale your arms down, and so extending the right knee whilst you hinge your torso forward to find a flat back position. Again, option to bring your blocks either side to help you in this pose. So this is our pyramid pose. We're looking to ground in to the ball of the front foot and the outer edge of the back foot and keep this flat back. So looking to keep the legs kind of a combination of stretch and strengthening. Nice. So really looking to kind of open and work into the hips and the hamstrings in this pose. Beautiful. If your hands are on your legs, so perhaps they're here, perhaps they're just on your hips, whatever feels comfortable. When you're ready, bringing those hands to the hips, you're going to inhale and hinge yourself up. Then bringing the back foot to meet the front at the top of the mat. I'd like you to inhale your arms up, exhale down to find your forward fold. Again, perhaps rocking from side to side, making any movement, perhaps any wriggling. That feels good. When you're ready, inhaling to a halfway lift, exhaling to fold. And then you're going to inhale your arms up and round, exhaling your palms to center. Before we find the same thing on the opposite side. So this time stepping your right foot back to find your high lunge, inhaling the arms up. Again, working with your stance here, you're looking for your left knee to be tracking roughly over your left ankle and your shoulders to be down and not up by your ears. Beautiful. Then when you're ready, you're going to kick that back heel in, keeping the toes out to the side, and perhaps move that foot a little bit wider to give you a little bit more space to bring your hips round towards the top edge of the mat. ensuring that you haven't lost that that bend in the front knee, perhaps making your stance a little bit longer if you feel you're able to. If you've got any tightness in the lower back or hamstrings, you can bring it a little bit closer today, so more like this. So playing with that stance now, and then inhaling your arms up to find your warrior one. Then from here, exhaling those arms down to your hips to start with. You're going to extend that front knee as you hinge forward, finding again your flat back position on this side. Again, your option to bring your blocks on either side if that feels comfortable for you. Or you're going to perhaps bring the hands down the leg, whether that be to your thigh or your shins, or keep them on your hips, whatever feels good. As we start to work and open our hamstrings and our hips. And then we're going to gently roll ourselves upright, bringing that back foot to meet the front at the top of the mat, inhaling our arms up, exhaling over to a forward fold. We'll inhale ourselves up to a halfway lift, exhale down, and inhale all the way up before bringing our hands back to center. From here, I'd like you to bring your feet nice and wide on the log edge of the mat, with your heels a bit wider than your toes. And then inhale your arms up and exhale over, finding a wide-legged forward fold. Again, option to grab your block and to have it underneath your palms here. Just to help, it can help with the height. You can play with the settings. Or using your hands on the floor. Then bring your hands to your hips. I'd like you to inhale to a halfway lift and hold it for a few breaths here. And then you're going to wriggle your heels, heel toe in, so that your heels are slightly in, your toes slightly out. They're about hip distance apart. And sink your bum down to find your yogi squat. So again, option to be on your heels here with this, or on your toes if you're able to find that. Looking to bring your chest up and back. And we're not going to stay here for too long. We're going to bring our hands down to support us as we come down. And then we're going to finish on our backs today. So again, option to have blocks either side. And we're going to come into our cobbler's pose, which is where we started, with our soles of our feet together and our knees out to the side. So if this feels quite strenuous on your inner thighs, then please do look to bring cushions or blocks underneath the outer edges of your hips, and it will take the strain off. Otherwise, finding that now, option to bring your arms overhead here, or perhaps one hand on your chest and one hand on your belly, whatever feels comfortable for you. And again, returning your attention to your breath here. Got the option to stay here for a little bit longer, just starting to really open into that inner thigh area. Or if you'd like to return up to seated with me, you're going to use your hands to support your knees to come back to center, roll onto your favorite side, just using your arm as a pillow before you gently come up into a comfortable seated position, inhaling your arms up and out to the side and exhaling down to center, bowing your forehead to your hands and taking a moment just to reflect on your practice today. And I'd like to thank you very much for practicing with me. If you'd like to practice with me live, then you can check out my live class timetable in the description below this video. I look forward to practicing again with you soon.